All right. George Foreman thinks Anthony Joshua can be the king of the heavyweight division, and all he has to do about is be smart and not fight Andy Ruiz again. Interesting logic. We'll talk about that in this video. And also, Eddie Hearn will be announcing soon the absolutely stupid move that George Foreman is advising Anthony Joshua not to make. We'll talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and make sure you click all notifications, because if you don't click all notifications, then you'll only get some occasionally, and you might not know when we do our live streams in the morning. Also, thank you to the Patreons and the new Patreons that we have recently joined last week. Welcome to the team. We got some new good stuff. The R-rated Fanon, sometimes X-rated Fanon, coming up in the live stream in the Patreon videos. Now let's get to this. George Foreman got some interesting things to say, man. Some interesting things to say. He's a big believer in Anthony Joshua, and he believes that Anthony Joshua can come back and get all the belts, but that he doesn't need to fight Andy Ruiz this year. He doesn't need to fight Andy Ruiz next year. He needs to just wait for all the belts to fly out all over the place, and then go back to collect him again like he did the first time. So let me read exactly what he said to you. And you can also get this on a Boxing Scene article that came out today. Today is the 8th of July, 2019. Let me tell you what George says. George said, "I would not be anxious for a quick rematch with Ruiz at all. I do not believe he should go into that rematch later this year or next. He does not need Ruiz. Ruiz needs him. In 6 months, all of those belts will be split again. In 6 months, they will all be out there again, and Joshua can get one of them back, and eventually two of them go back and start all over. You cannot be in a rush. If I can be heavyweight champion 20 years after I lost it, certainly this young man can be. In 2 years, he will have all those belts again. He's a great fighter, and the future belongs to him." Now, Georgie Porgy put in pie. Yeah, said what he thought, but half of it's a lie. Let me tell you. First of all, I do believe that Anthony Joshua can become a world champion again. I absolutely, positively do agree with that. I also definitely agree that he should not be fighting Andy Ruiz next. As far as whether or not Andy Ruiz needs Anthony Joshua, obviously that's not true, because he already took the belts off of Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua is not some big star in the United States. We've been trying to tell you guys that. However, I'll go with what George says for the sake of argument now and say that, matter of fact, no, I won't, because I just don't agree with that. Andy Ruiz can fight Deontay Wilder. If Andy Ruiz fights Deontay Wilder, then he's fighting for all of the belts. He'll have all of the belts, and he'll have his Mexican fan base. He'll have the American fan base all behind, the refrigerator Perry of boxing, Fluffy that knocked out AJ, and everything will be good for him. He'll be a bit of a golden goose. I don't think that Andy Ruiz needs Anthony Joshua. That said, I definitely agree with what George Foreman says about the fact that these belts are going to be split up inside of, the next couple years. Without a doubt they will. And I don't think, because of the way the sanctioning bodies work. Absolutely. You already have Alexander Usyk being ordered by the mandatory for the WBA for Andy Ruiz. So Andy Ruiz already has a mandatory that he has to face next because of the WBO. And if he decides that he doesn't want to do that, and he wants to fight Deontay Wilder, then the WBO could put pressure on him or could strip him. Right? That's how the sanctioning bodies work, right? So obviously that's the truth. About whether or not Anthony Joshua can have them all back again. Look, man, there is a great poet once said, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Man, not all the king's horses and nor all the king's men are going to put that Humpty Dumpty back together again. Okay? He has no chin. He has no chin. And that is not the case where George Foreman waited 20 years to get over the beatdown he suffered at the hands of Muhammad Ali. I just don't see AJ. I don't see AJ piecing that back together. I don't see him growing first of all, he never had a good chin. He's never had a good chin. He didn't get just knocked down like one time, like George Foreman, like what happened to George Foreman, where George Foreman did get beat up though. Now that's one thing about that fight, not the rumble in the jungle, but the rumble in the jump, the rumble in the jungle. Yeah. One thing that is underestimated about that, I think mischaracterized about that fight a lot of times, is Ali really did beat up George Foreman. But George Foreman wound up going down just one time. He wasn't getting knocked down and getting rocked by anything that was thrown. Also, George Foreman is just all around. He's a better fighter than Anthony Joshua is. And I don't believe that George Foreman was manufactured. Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, is a bit of a manufactured phenomenon for sure. And a manufactured fighter, I just don't think that he's a George Foreman. I went back and watched the fight again just yesterday with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. And Andy Ruiz is a better fighter than him. Just absolutely beat him up, man. Beat him up. As long as Andy Ruiz could see a punch coming, he could take the punch. And whenever that punch came, he let off 3 and 4 punches behind him and never gave Anthony Joshua a chance to land more than one. And as soon as he landed one, he made him pay for it. I think that this is going to be the same thing as waiting to happen with somebody else and Anthony Joshua. And if Anthony Joshua is able to beat Andy Ruiz in this next fight, which I don't think he will, it's just going to be a matter of time before somebody else checks him on the backside of his head. We were on OG Boxing Talk, which we do Sundays, and I invite you guys to come in the morning. I have the boxing historian specializing in the 70s, 80s, and 90s blood boxing on the channel, along with KQKC Boxing, and Drew Titan, who also has a new channel. You'll check out Drew Titan's channel. Talked about the fact that once you really get that spot behind the back of your head really dented, that you are susceptible again to those type of shots. I went back and looked at the fight and was like, yeah, that was pretty much the type of shot that he took. So anyway, we'll see in this next fight, which, by the way, Eddie Hearn said they're going to be making an announcement soon. And the fight is going to either be in New York or it's going to be Cardiff. So they'll be announcing it that it will be in New York soon, because I have a serious doubt. I seriously doubt that it's going to be in Cardiff. For the slow-witted that watch my channel, though, seeing as I do not have a crystal ball, I say that I doubt it. That I suspect that it will be in New York. I do not know for sure that it will be in New York and that it will not be in Cardiff, because things happen in the world. So if you ever hear me being a little bit on the fence about what's going to happen, it's because I'm not a fortune teller and I don't have a crystal ball. Just to let you know, so you can avoid leaving me messages like that in the comment section. I really do like talking in the comment section and speaking to subscribers in the comment section, but some some things are said enough by people that want to be nitpicky that I feel that it's important to say that in the video just to settle it. But we'll see what happens with Eddie Hearn and with as far as this rematch goes. Eddie Hearn out there looking bad. Anthony Joshua's out there looking bad. I hope that he doesn't take the rematch. I really, really hope that he doesn't take the rematch right away, because Anthony Joshua himself seems like a pretty decent guy. And I wouldn't want to see him, well, I can't lie. I would like to see him get his behind whooped again, just so I can have some of these UK trolls just spin on it again, because that was fun. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.